Thank you all for tuning in. This is Iman and Selena, and together we make You Plus Happy. Each week we bring you someone who challenges us to define success and happiness on our own terms with a dose of laughter.
And remember to like and subscribe to You Plus Happy Podcast on Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Hey, Selena.
Hola.
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 How are you? How was your week? Anything fun or exciting happen?
I'm good. So I just realized, much how you have spoken about a coffee addiction, which I also have, I have a book addiction. Listen, and I read, but it's more an addiction of reviewing and buying books. So I went in to buy, I was like, oh, let me get one more book. I went to Barnes and Noble and spent $100. Clearly didn't buy one book. I know some books are $100, but these weren't. Yeah. And so I'm going to have a conversation with myself and just kind of say, Selena, we have to get a hold on our obsession with books because I'm going to run you in the poorhouse. It's my favorite place on earth, and it's costing me money because the libraries are closed.
Yeah, that's true.
I used to go to libraries and just get all my books, and now I'm getting them all from the bookstore, and it is a pretty penny.
That's a good addiction to have, though. Like, it could be worse.
It was better when the library was open.
Yeah.
Now it's expensive.
Yeah.
What about you?
So this weekend that just passed, I stepped out of my comfort zone. So I'm, as you know, in Australia. So I went to a group, it's like a meetup group called Black Girls Melbourne. My first time going, and it was actually a really good time. It's like 10 girls that all got together. I'm not the one to kind of like put myself out there unless I'm like, oh, I know everyone that's there. So I went with a little bit of push from a friend, and I had a really good time. All the girls were just super cool, down to earth. I was the oldest one in the group. I felt some type of way about that, but only by a few months. But still, no, but it was nice. And we went to like a little bar, like on the waterfront, and just, it's rare to see like a group of Black girls in Melbourne. So it was nice to, connect and hopefully build that network.
Yeah, I'm low-key jealous because it's summer there, y'all. So that's how she was on the waterfront and just living her best 80-degree life. Or whatever.
In my defense, it is summer, but our high has only been like 75.
Hey, the high here was 30 today, so ma'am.
But it's winter. Your summer high wasn't that, but yeah. So that was my fun time this weekend.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so this week we have the Experts Podcast co-host Thomas Midgette. You can find his show wherever you get your podcasts and follow him on Instagram at the Experts Pod, and it will all be in the show notes. This episode was super fun, super informative as always, but I had a great time on the show.
Yes, me too.
And without further ado, we welcome our guest.
I love how we do the circle.
I know. Okay.
Oh. You want to keep going?
I know we always do that circle. That's funny.
It's a round of applause.
Yes. That's why y'all should watch too.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me? I apologize for my tardiness.
Yeah, this minute late. What kind of, you think we have this kind of time?
I'm sorry. I forgot my
60.
Zoom password.
sir, you're supposed to be a professional at podcasting. Get it together.
Which is why we don't have guests.
Oh.
That is exactly why. Does my camera need to be on? Or are we good?
Yeah. It would be better if it's on.
It is.
Hey.
Hi. Are you comfortable with having it on?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm chilling.
Okay.
I'm good. Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Thomas, this is Iman, my friend
Hi,
and co-host.
Thomas. Thank you for
Iman,
being
how are
on.
you? Yes. How's my audio? Am I good? I feel crazy.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
How are you, Iman?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing swell. Chilling.
Good. Well, I was telling Selena, I was like, we need more. We've had a lot of females on the show. So it's like, we need more males. So I'm happy to have this little balance going on now.
Hey, hopefully I can live up to your expectations.
You're our diversity hire.
Hey.
We don't discriminate.
I will take it.
We don't want to be biased.
So y'all do guests only every episode?
Yeah, well, we did our first kind of like end of the year wrap up where it was just me and Selena, but all
How
the
did
other
that go?
episodes. Good, I think. I haven't looked back at it.
Listen to it. I'll be the judge of that.
I don't know if it's so good, but hey.
It's like you don't know until you go back and look and you're like,
yeah, you gotta, like, sometimes I think an episode was like perfect. Like, it was so great. And then I listen to it again, I'm like, it wasn't, we could have did better. And there'll be episodes where like, oh, I wasn't feeling that. And I would listen to it and like the feedback from everybody that listened to it, like, okay, that was a good episode.
Yeah, the ones I think I do bad on, one of them I was nervous. I don't even think of Iman. And I had to edit it, and it was like, I was so nervous to watch. I was going to look like a fool. So
what was it about the episode that made you nervous?
It was somebody who intimidates me.
Okay.
But I'm the host, so I can't be like, I can't be like all blushing.
Oh no,
like bashful. So, but yeah, they intimidate me. So
okay, I got you.
Did you read the sample questions?
I never got around to it.
Okay, so thank you for your honesty. We appreciate that. That's why we're not gonna really.
So y'all stick to a script.
But I feel like the fact that you have a podcast, he's probably gonna be comfortable. You know, like
he knows his co-host.
Yeah, I know my co-host. Yeah.
No, but I mean, just like you're used to like being on a show and talking.
Yeah, I am. I kind of babble most of the time. I'm leave my phone on silent. But yeah, I feel like I be babbling most of the time.
That's okay. We'll cut you off.
I appreciate it.
Edit it out.
Just edit it out. You know, every episode we do, like I say, I'm gonna edit something out, and I never get around to editing it out. I'm like, we'll leave it.
You don't care. I still. How long have you had your podcast?
We started February of this year, so we dropped Valentine's Day was our first episode.
Oh, that's good. That goes with it.
Yeah.
How many episodes have you had?
We're almost at 30 now. I want to say 26, 27. There was a stretch where we missed a few weeks due to a few things, but I think we're at 27.
So when did you stop caring about your quality of editing? Your episodes?
I can't. I care about my quality of editing, but some things are just so minuscule that I don't feel like it needs to be edited out. And then my co-host, like, there's certain things that she says that she wants edited out that I think are funny and they work well with the episode or with our dynamic, and I leave it in. Because I do all the editing, like I just make the executive decision whether to leave it in or take it out.
Okay. How long does it take you to edit? I just have a few podcast questions. I'm gonna leave this in.
On average, it used to take me the full length of however long the episode was. So it used to take me times 2. So it used to take me 2 hours to edit because I would listen to it and then go back through and edit it again. Like I was just working too hard. Now I just write down the marks that I feel like need to be edited. Like if there's a long pause, I'll write it down. Like the timestamp, and just things like that. So now I can edit an episode in less than 30 minutes because we've gotten better. So it's not so many gaps. Our transitions are a lot better. We don't get at a loss for words as much because we're a little more prepared than we used to be. So it's not a lot of dead space that I have to edit out. And we aren't as reckless as we used to be when we first started the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, we reeled it in a little bit.
There's hope, Selena. We got this.
Yeah, y'all got this. Y'all pros already. Look, I can already tell y'all pros just based off the fact that you got books in your background. So I'm like, okay. Okay. She's official. I'm intimidated. I just got my Target picture in the background.
It looks nice.
Whatever.
It looks clean and stuff.
Good background.
It looks like you care about decorating. Is that alcohol in your rare cup?
This is lemonade in my red cup.
Oh, all right. Like,
yes. Why are we drinking? Is this one of those podcasts?
I only drank on one episode.
Okay.
Mine hasn't any.
No, well,
Okay.
that's what the time
We got some guest
because
drinks.
it's like 9 a.m.
It's early there.
I'm like,
let's drink, man. Let's take a shot.
Y'all, what? I don't have hard liquor. I
taking
can drink some wine.
at the moment.
Some wine. Okay, so you get wine. I'll get. What do I got? I got something in there I can find.
Ron, can you
I'm not
find
drinking by
wine?
myself. I think I got. Yeah, I got wine in there. I got wine.
There's wine in here.
I got wine.
All right, I'll have a drink during that.
Okay, I'll pour a little wine.
All right, real quick. I'll go get it.
Is
that okay? You talk down?
Yes.
You talk to our imaginary audience.
No.
You good? Let me see what you got.
I'm out of breath.
Cheers.
Hey.
Hey.
I didn't want the guests to know I was drinking, so I was drinking out of this. This is a classic
y'all record y'all video?
Yeah, we record.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we're recording.
Oh, see, I didn't know y'all used the video.
Yeah.
I really feel. Now I feel uncomfortable.
Sorry.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Tell me what you want me to edit out.
I would have put on a suit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Look what I have on.
Just start telling our guests ahead of time, like it's video.
Yeah.
But we do say YouTube, which I just assume.
Huh.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So far, I think it's decent.
It probably was an oversight on my part, so I apologize.
This is our 8th episode, so now I
feel like I'm at a weird angle, and
No, you're
I'm
good.
self-conscious, and it's the holidays, so I've been eating a lot of snacks.
We all have.
I'm sure we have. Yeah, I had a lot of cookies today. So, sir. But anyway, so I'm drinking with you. I'm sweating down. It's a lot. But
Okay, we in there. So I'm on my phone. Is that fine? Do I need to be on my laptop?
No, you're good. Like it's a good angle, good lighting. Thumbs up. You're good.
yeah,
I feel like I need to be. Okay.
I want you to feel comfortable though. So
I'm good. I'm good.
okay.
I'm fine.
You don't look fat on camera because you're worried about the cookies. No, not on cookies. You said you were eating for the holidays.
Snacks. Yeah, snacks.
Listen.
You look fat right now.
Okay. All right, I'm good. I'm confident. I'm ready.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So we'll hop in finally. So
10 hours later.
To start off with, so what made you want to start the podcast? What's the name? It made you want to do it? All of that.
So I've been listening to podcasts for years. Like I'm talking like 7, 8, 9 years. I've been listening to podcasts. And I started listening to more and more podcasts, as they started to develop and more podcasts became readily available. And I always wanted to do one. At first, I just kind of wanted to produce one, be behind the scenes on one, just kind of make it work, make the magic happen behind the scenes. And then one day my ex, she said, if we ever came out with a podcast, it would be called the Experts Podcast because we're exes. And I was like, that's a good idea. And so just without thought, like I went on Amazon that same day. I ordered microphones. I ordered a USB interface to plug into the laptop, like mic stands, and we would just hit the ground running shortly after that. Yeah. So it went from 0 to 100 super quick.
Y'all jumped right in.
Oh yeah, feet first, like not knowing anything, learning as we went along. We actually, like before we dropped our first episode, we went to a meetup group here in Atlanta. There's something called Black Pod Collective. So you can find them on Instagram, check them out online. They're based in Atlanta, but they give tips, pointers to anybody that's starting a podcast. And they had like a game night / mixer that we went to. So we talked to a lot of people that have already started their podcasts. We got a lot of tips in terms of what they use to record, how to release, how to market, all of that good stuff. So while we jumped in their feet first, we did, do a little bit of research, got some education, and talked to some people that were already doing what we were doing.
Yeah. What made you want to do the productions before you were even started the podcast that you're on now that you did? But what made you want to do the production side? Had you done it before?
I have not in that capacity, but I'm a behind the scenes guy just in general, like going all the way back to high school. Like I would make beats. I was a producer. We had like our little pseudo record label that we created where we put out different artists and all of that good stuff that, was well received. Even in the college, like I worked on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I was never like the type of person that wanted to be at the forefront of anything. So that's kind of why my first thought when I thought about being involved with a podcast was to be behind the scenes, just because that's just my personality by nature.
Yeah. Do you still do the music?
I don't. I stopped. No, when I went to college, my roommate, he made beats as well. His beats were like light years beyond mine. So I was like, let me go ahead and hang this up. Yeah, this isn't my calling. So yeah, I quit shortly after I went to college. Yeah.
No, a quick side note. I had to do elective. I had an elective, and the only thing left, and I think it was in high school. Yeah, I was in high school. Was the making beats class. I forgot what they called it, and we had to have partners because my school didn't have any enough supplies of computers for everyone, so I had to have partners. They teamed me up with this little white boy. No offense to white people, but him and I together, we didn't know how to do it. So we would just
what did y'all come up with? I need to hear this.
Oh, we would just push buttons and record. And it was like doop doop pow pow.
What was your grade? What did you get in the class?
A C or D, just for participating. But we had to present it in front of the class every week.
Oh, wow, girl.
And people would be looking around like, oh.
Like,
You said that to say making beats is really hard.
But see, I enjoyed doing it. I liked it more than I was like really good at it. But it was just fun. It's a little hobby, a little pastime that I picked up.
Yeah. A lot of money in making beats, I think.
Yeah, when you're good at it. For
sure. Yeah, when you're good at it. That's the key right there.
Maybe not at your level.
Key. Oh my God, we taking shots this early into the podcast.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh, no.
I was talking about Selena and her friend. I had to follow. So you mentioned that you were more like behind the scenes. Was it hard for you to? Because I feel like I'm the same way, where I'm like I prefer to be behind the scenes. Was it hard for you to transition and be like, all right, I'm gonna be front and center? Like, what was
it wasn't too hard. It wasn't too hard because I can turn it on when I need to turn it on.
Okay.
And also my co-host, being that she is my ex and that we remain friends after we broke up, I feel comfortable talking to her. So when it's just me and her talking, I just kind of look at it as me and her talking. Not that we're recording ourselves and that this is going out to others who will consume this eventually. So it wasn't too much of a transition.
Okay.
Had there been? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just. Go ahead.
I was just. Hold on.
Go, Selena.
I was talking a lot this episode already. You can go.
No,
somebody better go.
Say, like with the there are so many podcasts out there.
It's a lot.
Was there ever a time like when you started where people were kind of doubting you or just expecting something different and you're just like, no, like this is what I want to do?
So no, like I said earlier, like I've been listening to podcasts for years. So I'm well aware that the podcast market is like oversaturated. So I know that just me releasing a podcast is not just going to garner like thousands of listens episode. Like I know it takes a whole lot more than that. But so like while I do look at the listens, I do want people to listen to it. But the most important thing for me is the people that do listen to it, I want them to enjoy it. So while the quantity of listens that we have currently may not be mind-blowing, I do feel like we are getting better and better with each episode, and that everybody that listens to it, they give us honest feedback, and the feedback that we've gotten almost a year into it is mostly positive. So that's really all I can look for.
Do you enjoy it?
I love it, man. I have fun doing it. I can't say that every single episode that we record, like I go into it like super excited. it's like that for me 90 to 95% of the time. But overall, I do enjoy it. It does have its moments where like you kind of just don't feel like it. And our episode, not our episode, but our podcast is topic based. So we talk about a different topic each episode. So before we even started recording the podcast, I came up with a list of topics. My co-host came up with a list of topics, and we came up with some stuff together that we, kind of cover each week. And some of the things like I'm just not really interested in. Like they may be like cool topics, but I just don't really have an opinion either way on it. So that is a challenge for me, speaking on something that I could care less about. So I like to challenge myself that way, like giving an opinion even when I really don't care either way. But it does help me get better in terms of speaking on a myriad of topics.
Yeah. And speaking of challenges, have there been any others just about the podcast or in life that you had to deal with?
Definitely in both. Yeah, I've experienced a lot of challenges. We're just talking about the podcast, just being consistent. Like because we are a weekly podcast, we record every Sunday and we release every Tuesday. Like when you miss that first episode, which we did, like kind of towards the middle of the pandemic, it's just like, oh wow, like the world is ending. We missed the episode. Oh no, what are we gonna do now? Especially like when we were so consistent, like everybody knew they could look forward to us. Every Tuesday when they woke up, like our podcast was right there, readily available to listen to. And that was just something that we had to come to terms with. Like we have a lot of stuff going on. I have stuff going on. She has stuff going on. And the thing about it is we are super transparent with our audience. So if we miss an episode, like we'll explain the reason why. Because all the time it's been a legit reason. I know 1 week it was like the dog that we co-parent, like he was mangled by a little raggedy street dog. And so like he was in the vet for a couple of days. Like it wasn't looking too good. So our co-host, like even me, like we was both like not really feeling it. Like we were down, super depressed because we didn't know like his status and if he was gonna pull through and what it would be like if he was, to make it. So we missed that episode. And then even recently we had so many technical issues. Like it wasn't even funny. It was like somebody was purposely sabotaging us. Like it was awful. But yeah, we're just super transparent. When the next episode we do record, we just like, this is what happened. We make light of it, make jokes about it, and I feel like the people understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get sponsors, you can't do that, right? Don't you have to release?
I don't know. I don't know. Right now, we release through Anchor, so the only sponsor we have is through Anchor. So we don't have anything outside of the platform that we use to just distribute the podcast.
Yeah.
And I think
I think you can like have a deal with whatever sponsor you have just to do per episode. So whether you release weekly or not, when you do release, like it's based on the amount of episodes.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I guess
go ahead, I'm listening.
Switching gears a little bit, and Selena kind of talked about this earlier.
Let's do it.
When we talk about success from society, there's a lot of times a superficial idea of like you have to have this degree or these items. Like what does success mean for you? Like when are you the happiest and at your happiest place?
Success for me is super simple. I just want freedom. Freedom for me is the equivalent to success. So waking up let's say don't feel like I'm successful now. I am, on the path to achieving what I feel like success is. But success is waking up when you want to, not feeling obligated to have to work, especially work for somebody else. Yeah. So just in a nutshell, that's what my idea of success is.
Yeah.
Happiness. Ooh, that's complicated. Happiness. So I guess happiness would be along those same lines as well. But I like over the years, I've realized like emotions in general, especially like emotions like happiness, it's not like a constant state. So I don't feel like anybody can be in a constant state of happiness. Yeah. The emotional cycle. So it's, you're constantly going in and out of various emotions throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout your life. So it's kind of hard to say what true happiness is for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it would definitely be tied to freedom, family, being able to provide.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like a happy place? Like you're like, this is where
My
I go.
backyard. My backyard.
Okay.
When I go to my backyard, like, oh man. Especially like during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't say during, we're still in it now, I guess. But at the beginning of the shutdown, lockdown, like I would just go into my backyard every day, like relax. I'll do this little thing called backyard conversations. I would just call like a friend or family member, talk to that I haven't spoken to in a while. Just talk to them for like 30 minutes to an hour, catch up. And it was just like super peaceful.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's nice that it's so
That's
close
my happy
to.
place. It is. Like I can literally walk out there right now.
Walk outside.
And we should, if it wasn't so cold outside, I would be out there right now recording with some y'all.
That's dope.
That's the reason I think me and Iman have the same kind of definition of success in some senses. That's the whole reason we started the podcast. Well, first we started off as we wanted to start a business, but the whole point is we want freedom and we want to work by ourselves. But it's a lot more work than people think.
Oh, it's so much. I don't think people, like, especially like when we miss an episode or we're like late putting it up. We get so, like, people hit us up like, where's the podcast? Like, what are y'all doing? Like, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Like, well, especially for me, like my co-host, she just turns the mic on and after that's off, she's done. But like, I have to edit the podcast, write a description for the podcast, post it to social media, which I'm terrible at. I need to get better at that. Just promote it throughout the week. Like, it's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Like even just coming up with ideas and all of that good stuff. Like it's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could just step into it and just talk for an hour and turn it off the mics and be done with it. But it's so much more after that. And I'm sure y'all know that as well.
Yeah, we struggle with social media too, especially in the beginning. Like,
but I've seen y'all social media. It's beautiful.
It's popping, right?
It's beautiful.
Hey,
no,
we're doing something
nice.
right.
Yeah, it's like y'all have a theme. Like I feel like there's a color pattern. That's not what I'm looking for. Y'all have like a little color scheme, I should say. So it looks beautiful. Ours, on the other hand, you're welcome. Ours is free for us.
No, we've had hours and hours meetings.
Yeah,
right. And we've revamped like 4 times. We had different names. It didn't just happen.
I want to change our name so bad.
I love the name.
Everybody keeps telling us no, but it's like, so on Apple if you were to search it on Apple Podcasts, you won't find it because there's a popular podcast called the Expert Podcast or something like that. Some white man. Okay. So it's just not searchable. It's just you don't really know what it is just off of the title. But we've had it so long, everybody likes it, so we're sticking with it. That's cool.
Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you could change it because you want to be happy.
Right? I know. I want to, but the thing is, well, you know as well. It's like y'all too. So you might have an idea that might conflict with with your co-host idea, and you kind of got to find a middle ground.
Yeah.
So that's the difficult part. And then doing a podcast with your ex, you already know. Y'all gonna argue about
I don't know how y'all do that.
I know. I was gonna ask, like, how is that dynamic? I know you mentioned you guys are still friends, but like friends and being like co-hosts on a podcast is very different.
Right. It is different. It's overall it's cool. It works well. Because we have a lot of the same sensibilities, but the things that we disagree on, like we disagree hard on, and it's like a lot of button heads. Well, and I can't even say button heads because it's just a whole lot of just dismissal of the other person's opinion and just not talking for days until it's time to record, and then it's just a mess. But yeah, overall though, it works well.
That sounds like a band, like in the 90s. They were like, we were the whole time, and then we did our interview. I don't know if this will help, but one thing with me and Iman, when we couldn't agree or we couldn't, well, it was more so not deciding because we were so indecisive. We would just have people vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, not a lot, like 5 people.
Who?
Like, because we can't handle
5 people? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How did y'all determine what 5 people? Like, who is somebody that y'all trust?
Yeah, it was usually people like in our network.
Okay.
We wouldn't necessarily say like, this is my idea, this is Selena's. We would just give them, we're like, hey,
Okay.
you like the
That's
best
smart.
out of these 3 or 4 options, and then like, all right, this is what they chose, and that's how we got You Plus Happy, because we had I don't know.
You had a few titles.
We had a few.
Okay.
A few.
Okay. But yeah, no, I like the title You Plus Happy.
Thanks.
Especially, considering what the podcast is about. That's cool.
Yeah. And I think we're lucky too because we both trust each other's network.
Okay.
So I think that helps. Because if Iman said I'm going to send it to 3 people, I won't ask who. I'm just like, okay, I trust her integrity.
Right.
Like I'm the 3 people now.
So everyone chose my idea.
Right.
I don't think she's like that. So shifting a little bit again, what's been your biggest motivation? Like I know you said earlier, sometimes you don't feel like recording, and I know I can attest to that. I mean, I don't know about you, but so what pushes you in general just to keep going? And then I know you said you guys don't have a whole lot of listeners, so sometimes does that deter you a little bit, or?
Well, what keeps me motivated is the fact that I do have a co-host. Like if I was just going in there doing this on my own, like I probably would take so many days off. Like I'm not feeling it today. Oh well, like I would take so many days off. But the fact that we do have a schedule, we record on Sundays, we release on Tuesdays. That alone, like having a schedule for me, it just works. Because without that structure, man, if it was just left up to me just to record whenever I have free time, it would never happen. So that motivates me. The listeners, for sure. While we don't have a lot of listeners, the listeners that we do have, they are super loyal. They love the product that we put out. And I know that they're going to be on our heads if we don't come out on Tuesday. So that's just super motivation. And then also just sticking to something. Like over the years, like I've come up with tens of thousands of ideas, like things that I would be like super gung-ho about, and then just weeks later, I'll just be over it. Like, this is just something that I'm passionate about. I put money into this. Like, I try to get better each week, and I just enjoy doing it. So the fact that I'm passionate about it, that alone just helps motivate me and keep me going from week to week.
And that's something we've talked about. Like, without us doing it together, I would have gave up. I probably would have done for one episode. Like, all right, that was fun.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym. It's like going to the gym. Like, you can go to the gym on your own, but you're going to be more likely to go to the gym if you have a workout partner, accountability partner, somebody that's is going to be there at 6 a.m. every day. Like, you can't leave them hanging. So it's kind of like that.
And if I had done it by myself, especially when I found out about all the behind the scenes work, I'm like, I'm not doing that.
You think you could do it on your own?
No.
No. Like I don't think so.
I don't think I would have. No, I don't think I would have been.
Like I'm just talking about just from a recording standpoint. Like I couldn't talk by myself for an hour.
And the crazy thing is, I talk in my head so much you would think you could do it, but I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be motivated, and I tried. I was trying to learn how to edit, so I was recording myself talk just so I could have a test piece to work with. I was like, what do I say for a minute? I was like stressed out after 60 seconds.
But see, that's the thing. Like we just do strictly audio, so we haven't done video yet. So how is it editing audio and video? Is it like, can you just do it all at the same time, or do you have to edit it separately?
It's super easy, and I'm only answering because Iman hasn't edited yet. So it's super easy. You throw it in iMovie if you have Mac and video. And then you edit it, and then when you drop it into Anchor FM, it just pulls the audio and puts it everywhere.
Gotcha.
We're living in a beautiful time.
Yeah, I see. So all you do is edit the video. Then after you get done editing the video, you drop it, and then got you. Okay.
And we have theme music and stuff. So
we do
too. Did y'all buy y'all theme music?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did too. Yeah. I want to feel fancy.
But see, I hit my college roommate that makes beats. I hit him up. I said, let me get like 20 beats so I can, find something for the theme music for the intro of our podcast. So I got 20 beats. I listened to them. I found like 2 or 3 that I kind of like. I let my co-host listen to them. She didn't like any of them, so we just ended up going online and finding a beat that we both like, bought it, and that's what we use for the theme music.
Yeah.
So much that goes into it for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So switching gears a bit. So what is something that you wish people say about you when you're not in the room?
Okay. I just want them to say that I'm a man of my word. Anything I say I'm gonna do, I do it. There's no doubt in their mind that won't come through for them. Yeah, I just want them to say that I'm just a man of my word. Even though I was 1 minute late.
I mean,
dang it.
Post 60 seconds.
Right. You were late, and I see. What is the best advice you've ever gotten?
Best advice I've gotten. This isn't the answer, but the first thing that came to mind was my auntie. She said, "Boy, don't take no check from your daddy." So that was some good advice. She was on to something right there.
Okay.
So I haven't taken a check from him. But some of the best advice I got was, it was to put it in context, it was my first day of a new job. And my manager told me, whatever you mess up can be fixed. And I just applied that to my life. So anything that I mess up, like there's very few things that are just irreversible that you can't come back from. But there are a lot of things that we do in our lives that we think when we mess up that it's the end of the world. But a lot of it can be fixed. A lot of it can be resolved, and you can grow and be a better person from that. So that's probably some of the best advice that I've taken with me.
Yeah, that's such good advice. I feel like both me and Selena have a little bit of that perfectionist where it's like everything has to be perfect before we put it out into the world, and just accepting like you can mess up and that's okay.
Yeah. But see, that's a good thing because I'm the opposite. Like if I have like an idea, like I'll hit the ground running with very little information. I just I'm like a learn as you go type of individual.
Okay.
And there's like pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
Like I never suffer from like, what do they call it? Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
I never suffered from that. But a lot of times I get into stuff because I just don't take my time and I just jump head first into it. So there are pros and cons of both sides of that.
See, all of us need to throw it in a pot and like
mix it up. No, we mix it up. Oh man, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. But I think this whole experience has pushed me and Iman to just kind of, because it'll bleed over into other aspects of our lives.
So what would y'all say is the biggest thing that y'all taking away from what y'all done with this podcast?
I think for me is just kind of going off of that, like just putting it out there, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because I feel like we plan, which planning is good, but I think
planning is
over planned. There was times we would have conversations about like one thing for I don't know, like 5-6 meetings, and wouldn't make a decision.
Y'all look like y'all had a lot of meetings. Notepads and pens.
We do. We have an agenda, task.
We're very
reading minutes from the last meeting.
We do. This is professional.
We have an agenda.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, I think just realizing like you can't plan for everything, and over planning is not always a good thing. So I think that's my biggest takeaway so far.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think it's I learned a lot. It's tough to narrow it down, but I think just being more courageous.
Okay.
Because I would be too nervous to hit people up, but like ask people to come on the show that I didn't know, or people I respect. And like, they will want to talk to me. But since I'm with Iman, I'm like, they'll talk to both of us. But they'll talk to one of us at least. So I had to learn and Iman's a good like cheerleader. I'm like, they rejected me. They said no. And she's like, you're gonna get a lot of no's. You gotta deal with that. So I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Get a lot of no's.
Get a lot of no's. So I learned to deal with rejection. And
that's great.
That's one of the bigger takeaways that I've gotten so far.
But what I like about y'all's podcast is it's not topical, so y'all don't have to speak on current events. So y'all can, like, I don't know if y'all do this or not, but y'all can record episodes in advance.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have to worry about being like, we talk about current events before we even get into our topic. So because we do that, it's like we gotta come up with stuff each week. Like people like kind of expect us to talk about certain things, especially if it's something like big that happened during the week. They kind of expect to hear our take on it. So
yeah,
I kind of, because at the beginning when we first started, we stashed like 3 episodes because we just gonna jump into the topic and just all we're gonna do each episode is talk about the topic. But after a while, like during our 5 or 10 minute banner at the beginning of the episode, turned into 20 and 30-minute banner where we was just talking about, catch up with each other, and then talk about stuff that was going on in the world. So we kind of stuck with that because people started to like it.
So it's not just relationships?
No, it's not. So it's not just relationships. However, that's pretty the majority of each episode. However, for the first 15, 20 minutes, we do talk about current events. So we are talking about elections. We are talking about sports. We are talking about anything that's going on, anything social media related, just because it's just kind of like a icebreaker just to get into it just right before we jump into the topic. Because some topics that we have are a little bit more serious than others. So just to kind of ease people into it, we do talk about current events before we jump into the topic. Yeah.
So I guess in terms of, so one of the things that I've also picked up doing the podcast is just how many people we have in our network that have skills that can come in and kind of help us. Like the editing, we had no idea. And now Selena, she's doing an amazing job. But it was like someone in our network where I'm like, oh wait, I know someone who does this, or she knows someone who does this. So like being able to utilize our network and our friends.
Same, because I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think you were going to answer my question.
I don't know if I was, but I was going to say, because we aren't a guest-driven podcast, I'm sorry, we aren't a guest-driven podcast, but we do have guests on certain episodes. So anytime we have a topic that me or my co-host, we may not be, experts in, we'll bring like somebody that we know could like be perfect for the episode. For instance, we did an episode on astrology and how it relates to dating and relationships. Like neither one of us like really, delve too deep into that type of stuff. But she had a friend that we could pull on. And then we talked about dating apps one episode. We had somebody that would be perfect for that. And then eventually we're going to talk about dating with kids, which neither one of us have kids. So we're going to bring on, someone that I know that has dated with kids. And I feel like she would be like a great person to talk about, the difficulties that go into that and, just everything surrounding that topic. So yeah, it is good to utilize those that you have in your network. You can't do everything on your own.
Yeah.
Gotta lean on others for sure.
100%. So like, how do you decide who gets to be in kind of your inner circle in terms of like friends, people in your network? Like what qualities do they have to have?
You have to be able to give an opinion, an honest opinion, without, having fear of the consequences of sharing that opinion. Like I don't want anyone just to tell me something that they think I want to hear, because like I can take criticism. I'm perfectly fine. Like I enjoy criticism. I enjoy getting better. I want to know like what I could do differently. And that way, because I don't want to just be stuck in my ways. Like I enjoy having the opinions of others. So anybody that's within my inner circle, you have to be willing to share. Like just don't not share something just because you feel like it'll hurt my feelings. Because I promise you it won't. So you definitely have to be honest if you are in my inner circle.
No yes men allowed.
Exactly.
And what piece of advice would you give our listeners if they wanted to do a podcast, or just general advice?
Yeah, just do it. I know y'all will probably disagree with that. Y'all disagree with that advice, but just do it. Just do it. Like whatever, especially like now, like going into a new year, I feel like it's like just do it. Like we've been through so much over these past 8, 9, 10, however many months. that like you just don't know what to expect moving forward. So anything that you want to do, anything that you're passionate about, anything that you like doing, just jump into it, do it. Definitely learn along the way. You know, don't be completely blind and, you know, lose everything that you work hard for. But just don't be scared. Just take a risk. What's the worst? So something that I got from I can never remember the name of the book. I want to say that the Greatest Investor or something like that, like a book by I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Graham. But he said before he made any decision, he would ask himself, what's the best that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? And what's most likely to happen? So the best that could happen, you can win millions or get millions and millions of dollars. The worst that could happen, you could die. But what's most likely to happen is somewhere in between that. And it's not as bad as you think it is. So just ask yourself those 3 questions before you make any tough decision.
That's a good perspective. I need to start thinking about that because I always go sometimes to the worst.
Right.
So, like,
you got to consider the best as well. Yeah. Consider the best and then find that middle ground.
Yeah. What so one of the things that me and Selena were talking about is just that people that are kind of like on their own path of success, they tend to have some type of structure or routine in their life. So like what kind of gets you up every day and motivated to do what you're doing? Like what do you do in the morning? Like what does your day typically look like?
So I'm gonna be super honest. Like I'm naturally just the early riser, so I just get out of bed just because I'm just a guy from the country who's just raised to get out of bed before the sun comes up. But everything I do, like even on my path to success, like everything is automated. So like while I say freedom is what I define as success, like my path to freedom is automated. Like in terms of I'm big on personal finance. So like my investments are automated. I don't even I don't look at it. So it comes directly out of my check every time I get paid into my investment account. Like I'm consistent with my investment. And I know like based on my time frame, like that path to freedom or that idea of success will come within the next decade. But yeah, that's kind of the way I view it. I just automate everything, like alarms, calendar reminders, like things of that nature. Like I like to put systems in place that way I don't have to be too hands-on with anything.
It's like delegating.
Yeah, delegating. Delegate this technology. All this technology that we have at our disposal.
I know.
I just make it work for me.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I wanted to ask, in regards to the podcast, what's been your favorite topic, or what's the biggest lesson you've learned on your podcast though since you started it?
So that's a good question. Now I have to think. So my favorite, I can't say that I have a favorite topic. I probably do, but I don't have it like at the front of my mind. But that question makes me think of a topic that we stumbled upon that will be a future topic. And that is like how our parents' relationships have impacted us in terms of our dating and our relationships. Because like both me and my co-host, we were raised in a 2-parent household. Like her father is like immigrant from St. Vincent. I had 2, parents who were raised in the South. My parents are no longer together, but I've seen how they interact. I grew up with both of them in the household throughout my high school years, into college. So I've seen them interact and how, whether it be good or bad, like that. I like to, explore how that has affected us in terms of our relationships. Because I had a conversation with a friend, one of my female friends, and she puts her parents on a pedestal in terms of their relationship. Like, so she's seeking something similar to what they have. And like, I often tell her, like, it's tough. Like, you're not your parents. It's going to be hard to find something like that. Like, you can love on the same level as them, but in terms of the day-to-day, like, interactions with your partner, it's almost impossible to find something like that because everybody is unique. Everybody is different. So that's one of the topics that I can't wait to like really dive deep into and like really talk about.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys already? Is it just going to be you and your co-host? Or are you bringing on a guest?
I see. I want
is that in the works?
I want to have two. So I want to have two people on that.
Okay.
So before this pandemic, we got into the pandemic. Me and my co-host, we recorded in person. So,
okay.
and like just because I like the audio quality, every guest that we've had, we've recorded in person, and just the audio quality just works better because I can have 3 audio tracks. It makes it easier to edit, and if anything crazy is in the background, it's super easy to edit out. So recording like with Zencaster, which is what we use now, and we've tried using Zoom. It's just tough because they mix it down to one audio track, and I just don't like how it sounds. So I kind of want to wait until we can like be in the same space to really get into that conversation because I really want to, dive deep into that conversation. So.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people think about that as much. I've just recently somebody asked me about it and I had never thought about it. And I'm up in years. So
you're still young.
but I've been dating a long time and it's something I should have thought about.
But dating isn't easy. Like we talk about that all the time. Like a lot of people say like dating in Atlanta is hard, but I feel like you can say that dating in insert city is hard. I'm sure dating in Australia is hard, but I feel like we kind of make it a little more difficult than it has to be. Yeah. And the reason why we do that is because we don't set expectations, which is that was another topic that I enjoyed. Like we don't set expectations at the beginning of the relationship. We kind of do what I do and just play it by ear and you just figure it out as you go. But if you set those expectations at the beginning of the relationship, you can kind of weed out a lot of the people who aren't serious and save yourself in a little bit of time.
Are those the same as standards?
Yeah, expectations, standards, yeah, of course. But it's similar. It's similar, but expectations kind of a little more so plays into the behaviors or actions that you expect while you're in a relationship. I feel like standards, you want a guy to have a college degree, let's say. So they can fall into the lines of expectations. But when I say expectations, I think more so like I expect you not to cheat on me. Like just the behaviors that you expect or don't expect.
It's fair.
But if you don't, okay, so check this out.
So you have to. You're saying, so you're saying we have to spell that out for someone. Oh.
So I said that jokingly on an episode. I said it's not cheating if you didn't say it. If you didn't say that you didn't expect him to cheat. I said that jokingly. I got so much backlash for saying that.
As you should.
I was kidding.
What he's saying. I do get what
Of course you can't cheat.
I'm just kidding.
But if you didn't say it, then hey.
You can't expect it. Okay.
Right.
Let me make some calls.
Take notes. Do not cheat on me. Boom, got it.
Yeah. I expect you not to cheat on me this weekend.
Let him know.
It's on the text, so you can't do it. Right. It's in writing.
It's also clear now.
That's what I'm here for.
I learned so much.
Thank you.
This show's about learning. No, just real quick, I saw this meme and it was, I don't know if y'all saw it, but it was like, it's not premarital sex if you never get married. Follow me for more biblical loopholes.
Oh, wow.
No, I saw one that said it doesn't add to your body count if you use the condom.
No,
oh, wow.
I saw that, but they were like, think about it. If you wash your hands with gloves on, did you really wash your hands?
Comment.
Oh,
I was like, it kind of makes, okay.
It doesn't make sense.
No, if you wash your hands with gloves on, you didn't wash your hands.
You didn't. No, you didn't.
Technically.
You didn't.
That's a point.
Don't know if it's the same thing, but you know.
They call it a glove. Anyway.
See, this is like another thing that me and my co-hosts talk about because I tend to go off the rails, off of our script, and we just end up on some stuff that have nothing to do with our topic. I feel like I'm derailing y'all's podcast right now.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
In a meeting, Iman said she requests more derailment. So
okay.
I feel like
well, let's derail it then.
I'm like, I like the script, but I also like it to just, flow, and where it goes, it goes.
Right.
I mean, we did We did have one that went a little off, so we had to do a lot of editing.
It went off. It was dark.
But
Did
you
y'all
did a
ever
good job
record an
editing.
episode that y'all couldn't put out?
No,
Almost.
we just talked about it, but we made it work.
But y'all still put it out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
edited
okay.
a lot. We edited down to take about. That one took me about.
And
4
it
hours
actually
to
came out really well.
What happened? They were talking crazy, or it just wasn't pertaining to the topic?
I think it just went a little bit darker than we wanted.
Oh, okay.
But it was like that person's truth. So I appreciated her sharing kind of her vulnerability. But I think when you hear a podcast, You Plus Happy, if you listen in, you would think it'd be
You
a
don't
little.
want to be sad.
Yeah. So that was a learning experience.
Yeah, it wasn't just that it was sad, because I don't think we mind that. People talk about suicide on here and stuff like that, but because part of happiness, this is not a BS thing. Like, we're not going to be happy all the time. So
Right.
it's to put out something that's unrealistic and not talk about your struggles. We even ask questions about that. So it's not to say like that to glaze over that or whatever, but it was more like it was very specific, like Javon was acting out with Amber, and I was like,
we're gonna take that.
We don't want to talk about Amber. I don't know her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that, I totally understand that.
It wasn't like a general state, a general thing. And we didn't know how to stop it. I was like, we have to become better hosts. We kept trying to turn it around, and then it was going back to Amber and them. And I was like, it was nobody really named Amber, if anybody's listening. So I think that's what it was. Did y'all record one you couldn't put out?
No. Everything. There's been some stuff we had to edit out. And so I did an episode with my mom. So we did an episode about meeting family and being introduced to, the person you're dating's family. So I had my mom on an episode, and we kind of integrated the conversation that I had with my mom into like me and my co-host conversation. So I would just insert, snippets of me and my mom's conversation. And during a portion of my mom's conversation, I was asking her, which women that I dated that she liked and didn't like, and she started, like you said, saying names and whatnot. So she started wilding out. So we had to bleep some stuff out. And, so it was like a 45-minute conversation that I had with my mom that ended up being like 10 minutes that we used on the podcast. And she was wilding.
That's funny.
But yeah, that was.
She's like, now that you asked.
Yeah, she was saying names and reasons why.
Oh wow!
Like, whoa, chill out.
No holding back.
Right.
She was holding that. She couldn't wait.
Right.
Let me take my list out real quick.
But the crazy thing was, like, she had a name like on the tip of her tongue. I couldn't even get the question out, and she was like, she just said the name. I was like, oh wow,
it was Amber.
Amber.
Those Ambers,
You gotta watch out for those Ambers.
That is so funny. Real quick, I wanted to have my stepdad on the show, but I feel like he's gonna do stuff like that, and I'm like, Dad,
bring him on.
You gotta let him. So you gotta give people free reign, and if you need, so you can reel them in.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of recording ahead of time. Like, you can't go back and just edit.
Right. Yeah.
I've had to edit myself out of a few. This is the last question I have. Have you had to, because I wanted to do different topics or do other podcasts too, and I was like, but I don't want to give that much of myself. That's part of why I like us having guests on, and not that I don't want to be vulnerable with the audience, but it's just some things that are really private for me, especially when it comes to relationships. Have you had anything where you were like, oh, I didn't mean to say that? Because sometimes I get comfortable and I say things I regret, or just things that you don't want everybody to know about you.
Yeah, there's things that I intentionally don't mention in the podcast just because, like, while I do like being transparent when it comes to certain things, there are a few things that I just don't want to talk about. Yeah. Just because, especially if it's something current, like I don't mind talking about the past for the most part, but if it's something current, like I don't want to get into that on the podcast just because I want to keep something to myself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And there have been moments on the podcast where we've been like super transparent, which, was well received from the audience. like one moment where a few people said like I could tell like y'all were being like super vulnerable on this certain episode. I can't even remember what the topic was, but I just remember like in the moment, like I felt it, and then it translated even over to the people that listened to the episode. They could feel like the level of transparency that we had about whatever the topic was.
Yeah, that's good. And then I guess I have another question, because like we've done a lot of research on the back end, and one of the things they're talking about, like when it comes to podcasts, Instagram, social media, is the difference between having like listeners or followers and having like active listeners and followers. And it sounds like you guys have done a really good job at having active listeners, where they're like, if you don't put out an episode, they're like, where are you? Like, what did you guys like? How did you get that? Because I feel like we have followers, but I don't know how active. Like, if we didn't put out an episode, no one would be hitting me up like, where's your episode, Iman? I'm more like, listen to this, guys. It's coming out.
Please listen.
One of the things that we did early on that we haven't done in the past few episodes was we would do a poll. So before each episode, we would ask questions on Instagram pertaining to the upcoming topic. And then on that episode, we would read those responses. So we wouldn't say the names or anything, but if you listen to our episode faithfully, you're like, oh, I said that. So we would engage with the people. Like if you listen to something and you hear them reading your responses and then, explaining whether you agree or disagree and, just give feedback on their response, then they're more likely to be more engaged, to want to answer those polls, to elaborate, to slide in your DM and ask you where the episode is this week. So that's what we did early on to build active listeners. Because like you said, we don't have a lot of listeners, but the people that we do have, like, they are engaged and I think like we'll probably do like a giveaway or something like that, just for those people that have been listening faithfully and have been putting other people on our podcast, just because we appreciate it.
That's good advice. Just doing something prior to
just engage. You got to give into the community in order to get out of the community, and we give a lot. So we appreciate everybody that listens to our podcast.
Okay, duly noted.
Got some notes for today.
Sure.
Tell him not to cheat on me, and
don't tell him don't cheat on. You better tell him as soon as you finish.
My expectation is
don't you be cheating on me.
Do not cheat on me.
That's funny. All right, so I'm gonna edit this out, but can you send us a picture for your promo?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you can just email it. You have to.
Okay.
Right. But your episode won't be out until the new year.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That's not to say put it off. It's just.
No, I let Dominique already picked a picture, so I just got to email it to you. She already sent me the one that she's recommended.
No.
Yeah, she
Dominique approved.
the one that she approved. So yeah, I got you.
Stay up. Okay, good. All right, now we're recording again, even though we're not.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Do you have anybody have anything else?
No, we good? Have you read all of those books on your bookshelf?
So technically, this isn't my bookshelf. I'm not at home at the moment. Gotta improvise.
I know with me, like every book that I purchased, I read at least once. But people like buying books for me, and like I don't really care about the books. Like I don't know, it's like not something that I asked for, not something that I even suggested I wanted, but so I haven't read everything that I have on my bookshelf.
I do have a small one at home, but I won't buy another book until I finished all the books I have. So it's not just
smart. So do you feel obligated to finish a book that you started reading?
No, I don't have, like, if I'm not engaged in the first couple chapters, I'll kind of.
I'm the same way.
But like usually I'll pick out books because I like a lot of self-help. So like those books I usually can make it through.
Okay.
So yeah.
Got you.
It does look impressive, right? It makes me look smart.
What does it? Does it? And they're in alphabetical order as well? Yes.
I wish I could say they were mine, and I read.
And you have the Barack Obama book forward facing.
He side note, he purposely placed that. He was like, "Oh, this would look good. Put this in the podcast."
And then,
like, all right. So I'm glad he noticed the effort. I was like, "No one should be looking that hard."
Oh yeah.
I'm no one.
I didn't even notice it.
I didn't think anyone would, but clearly.
I'm gonna put a sticker on the episode like Barack Obama.
Right. Do y'all do like clips? So another thing that like kind of helps us get listens is we like do like a little snippet of each episode, like something that we felt was poignant in our episode, something that was funny. We'll like clip it and then post it to Instagram. That's been like super helpful.
Yeah, if you were following us, you would have seen that we do.
Shots.
I've seen that on your page because I follow you. But I don't know. I know you do that. So. Okay.
I'm just sip my water.
Just go unfollow some people. Hopefully we're getting the respect we deserve.
Y'all the #1 podcast in happiness, so I respect y'all. I respect y'all.
Yeah, somewhere. Some demographic somewhere.
Right.
Dreamland. All right. I don't have anything else. Y'all?
No. It's been good. It's been nice having you on the show. I feel like I've definitely.
I appreciate it.
Taken some.
I've enjoyed it. This has been fun. You know, this is the first podcast I've done. So.
Were you a guest?
Yes, as a guest. Yeah, it's my first time. Like, I've been on the other side. I've been where you guys are plenty of times, but this is my first time, like on the side of it. So it made me feel comfortable.
Nervous? Have you gotten nervous?
No.
Oh.
I was like, he didn't get nervous. He was like, I got this, y'all. Let's go.
No, I didn't. This was fun. I liked it.
Have you gotten nervous when you interview people?
No, because it hasn't been like a really interview. It's been a conversation around a topic. So I wouldn't say I've interviewed anybody in a technical sense, but we've had guests on that participated in the conversation that we had.
Yeah. Did you get nervous, Iman?
I think at the beginning I did, and remember I told you. So when we first started, it felt a lot more interviewee, if it makes sense. Like we would ask questions and then a response, and then somewhere in the middle it started to become more of a like back and forth conversation, and I feel more comfortable with that, and I feel like it flows. But yeah, at the beginning it was crazy. It was like people closer to us.
I feel like the conversation kind of is more engaging for the audience as well, because when we first started our podcast, my co-host, like she was like everything was laid out to a T. We're gonna talk about this for 2 minutes, this for 5 minutes, this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it was like I couldn't work under all of those restrictions because, like I said, like I do kind of like to stray from the script a little bit, and it didn't leave any room for improvisation. So I feel like when you kind of just have a conversation around like a loose skeleton structure, it definitely is a little more engaging for the audience. And I've enjoyed this conversation that we've had.
Good.
Yeah.
Mom definitely told me to stop saying, okay, our next question.
That's good advice.
Oh shit!
I don't need to know we have a script. As long as we know, we're good.
Right.
I would say that every time I had a question, I'm like, okay, and then at the end, I'm like, we don't have any more questions.
But see, for me, like my transition was always so, and then I would go into like whatever we would talk about next. And then when I was editing one day, I would hear, I was like, why am I saying so much? And like that just made me conscious of that just being one of, everybody has like a crutch word or phrase that they use in conversation, and that just so happened to be mine. And it made me a little bit more cognizant of it.
Yeah, ours was both of ours.
We use a lot of
So thank you, Thomas. No, but for real, thank you so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I never had a conversation with you, really.
No,
One
not at
time
all.
yelling at a bar. I don't know.
Right. Oh, I hate talking over loud music, but yeah, this was fun.
um, so again, thank you for being on and inspiring our listeners to redefine success for themselves. Where can they listen to your podcast?
They can listen to our podcast on any platform: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, like anywhere where you listen to your podcast, you can find our podcast. The Experts Podcast, you can find us on Instagram at The Experts Pod, and you can find me on Instagram at Thomas Midgette Jr. That is Thomas Midgette Jr. Please listen, follow us, like, give us comments, feedback, all of that good stuff. We would look forward to hearing all of that cool stuff.
Awesome. And thank you, listeners. We couldn't do this without you. Please listen into our episode, leave a comment, review. We always appreciate any feedback. Remember to follow us on U Plus Happy and on YouTube and Instagram at U Plus Happy.
And we will see you next week, same time, same place. And we have our guests say our tagline.
What's the tagline?
It's long. You ready?
It is long.
Oh, okay. I've been drinking.
I've been drinking.
We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
Okay. We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
Hey, first time.
Hey.
All right.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.